International Workers' Day, often referred to as May Day, is an annual celebration of the resilience of labor force which play a vital role in productivity of any nation. The International Workers' Congress held in Paris in 1889 established the Second International for Labor, Socialist and Marxist parties. It adopted a resolution for a great international demonstration in support of working class, demands for the 8-hour day. The date was chosen by the American Federation of Labor to commemorate a general strike in the United States, which had begun on 1st May 1886. The demonstration subsequently became a yearly event. 2025 May Day theme is reclaiming the civic space in the midst of economic hardships. Nigerian workers joined their counterparts globally to make the day across the country, demanding policies that address freedom of association, expression, and improved living conditions. President Bola Tinubu, in his address, presented by the Minister of Labor and Employment, assured Nigerian workers that the current administration will prioritize transparency, equity, and social dialogue to create an environment where every worker will feel safe and secure to contribute to the growth of the nation. But how hopeful are the Nigerian workers? And how has the labor and government relationship impacted in providing that atmosphere for a better life? These are some of the issues we'll be discussing on Nigeria Today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mikaria Clinton. Joining me in the studio for this conversation is the Chairman, Political Commission of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Professor Theophilus Ndobuako. Nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And also with us is the Chairman, National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, FCT Council, Jama Medan. It's good to have you in Nigeria today.
Thank you for having me.
So I will start with you, Prof. You know, the president, of course, as represented by the minister, promised, you know, to prioritize transparency, equity, social dialogue, of course, create an environment where every worker will feel safe and secure to contribute to the growth of the nation. Now, how does this resonate with with the mood of the Nigerian worker today?
Well, I must say that, you know, when you are talking about May Day, you're talking about, I was just watching people dancing all over the world in several countries. And I must be clear here, in Nigeria, I don't think we were celebrating, the Nigerian workers were celebrating. If we were celebrating, it would be that we were celebrating survival, because there is really hardship. If you look at the team, which is reclaiming, you know, the civic space in the midst of economic hardship, it's just, you know, saying it mildly, a lot of workers can't come to even work, can't come to work comfortably because of transportation costs. People are suffering. I am the Secretary General of Academic Staff Union for Research Institutions. And you know, they say research is the key to development of any nation. And I can tell you, we have more than 250 centers, so we are spread all over the country. The infrastructure for research in this country is on ground, but we're not doing research because there's no fund. I can tell you. And if you're not doing research, you can't develop. I remember sometime in 2013 when the then ambassador of China was talking in a conference for security, and he was saying that kinetic approach to insecurity will not work for Nigeria. And he gave example of how China has tried to resolve their own. And he mentioned development, economic empowerment. When people are jobless, there is no way they would not want to survive, and they can resort to crime. And then if you look at the situation in this country now, more than 100 million people, more than 50% of Nigerians are living below poverty line. The poverty line of $2.5 a day, said by the World Bank. If you look at that number, you will now wonder, if half of the people are living below poverty line, you will see that, you know, you can now explain why we have this level of insecurity and it's increasing. So I think that the government should be, like the president said, the president of the federation said, that they need to, there's need for social dialogue, there's need for equity. I was a member of the minimum wage committee, and we negotiated 70,000. Now, when they came for consequential adjustment, you're a worker, you should know. What they did was just add 40% across board for people who are earning, 200, 300,000. So instead of those people expecting more than 50% addition to their salary, in line with the negotiation of 30% to 70% minimum wage, they were giving them 40,000 across board.
Okay, we'll talk about that, Prof, subsequently. But let me also hear from Jama here. So, Jama, talk to us. We are also at the Eagle Square. Tell us, what was the mood like, for workers at the event today?
Thank you very much. I was actually at the Eagle Square, and when you talk about the mood of the workers at the Eagle Square, the day was set aside to celebrate workers, but I'm telling you, the people that we are celebrating, I can't see anybody smiling today. We are just managing ourselves, and that was what happened there, because most of the people that come to that place, some of them, they manage to come there. They cannot feed themselves to transport themselves to the places of work. They can't do it because even with the 70,000 minimum wage, many of our workers cannot survive. Many cannot pay their school fees. Many cannot pay their house rent. They can't even move, get that 3 square meals. Okay. So that is the mood there. When you see them, actually they are not just celebrating. What
does the speech given by the minister, what does it mean to you?
Well, I don't know. Nigerians were tired of getting speeches. Usually policies and everything, you see them, they come and they will just pass and nothing happened. Even this minimum wage that was promised, as I speak, even now, it has been passed into law, but I will tell you that many people have not implemented it. It's not all about speech that was presented, but are you sure that those things will come to pass?
Thank you very much. Now, back to you, Prof. You earlier mentioned the theme of the day, which is reclaiming the civic space in the midst of economic hardship. How much of the civic space would you say the Nigerian workers have lost?
Well, let's even start with the issue of the minimum wage we're talking about. There was a negotiation. The president is talking about social dialogue. And after the negotiation, hope. There was no more hope. In fact, we became more hopeless. Now, like I said, what we are celebrating today is the fact that we are alive. Because a lot of people are dying, I can tell you. Like I said, I'm the Secretary General of Academic Staff Union. I have lost members due to this hardship. And we are talking about elite class of Nigerians. Researchers are in the elite class. People who have masters and PhD, who are supposed to be working around the clock in laboratories to develop Nigeria. And then, so how do you now, talk about the civic space? Even now, do you know that if you look at the statistics, from 2015 to 2019 to 2023, what we had is, in 2015, the percentage of people who voted was 44%. In 2019, the percentage of people who voted was 35%. In 2023, the percentage of people who voted was 27% of the registered voter. In 2023, 93 million Nigerians were registered, and 27% voted. So that means in 2027, the way it's going down, 10% go, we might register above 100 Nigerians and only 17% will vote. Now, if you see there's voter apathy. Why is there voter apathy? People have lost confidence in governance. And so, because, and you see even the politicians behaving as if they don't care. They are jumping, defecting, instead of concentrating on.
So talking about the civic space now, how do we reclaim the civic space?
I think what we need to do is to educate Nigerians and appeal to the people in government, and ask them to take a critical look at what is going on in this country, the trend. If they don't really engineer what the whole system, because like the man was talking in China, he said about China, he said that you can't borrow things, a method of and impose it on the country. You develop your own homegrown solution to the problem. If the ruling class can, just like the president said, that we should have a social dialogue. A lot of decisions that are being taken, they're not even carrying the organized labor along. The president of, if you look at the speech today, they took a decision recently on tax. Said, who are the people paying tax? It's not workers. And now you take a decision on tax reform. You didn't consult. You didn't, sit down with the workers. The people who generate wealth is the workers who make good. We have about 50% of. When we are talking about organized labor, we're not talking about people who are employed. There are self-employed people. There are people who are not captured, within NLC and TUC, that group. Now, so we're talking about 50% of workforce, which is about 100 and something million people. Now you take decisions. These are the people who are producing the wealth at different levels.
Now you're looking for the way forward, Prof.
Yes, that's what we are saying. That, like he said, if the president can now, walk his talk, and involve the government, should involve organized labor, social dialogue. He mentioned it. That's what we are looking forward to. Let us have social dialogue. Let people make input, so that they don't sit down in their, cozy sitting rooms or offices and take decisions. And when these decisions backfire, and when we protest, even when we protest, they don't even want us to protest. Yeah. That's the problem now.
We don't need protests.
Yes, protests may not be physical. It may be verbal protest. You can say, "Oh, we are protesting this." Like if you look at the speech, the president has, stated a lot of things that need to be changed, and that we expect that the president of the country should now, after reading what we have, the workers are saying, call us to a negotiation. We need to, for instance, as we are complaining about poverty now, people below poverty line,
which we hope will happen very soon, because he has promised.
Yes,
that. So thank you, Prof. So to you, Gemma, talk to us about some of the challenges that workers today are facing, especially as it concerns your members.
Thank you very much. Actually, we have a lot of challenges that nurses in Nigeria are facing all over. One of the major challenges that nurses are facing in Nigeria is gross shortage of manpower in our workplaces. The WHO standard of ratio of nurse per patient is 1 nurse per 4 patients. But actually, I will tell you, all over Nigeria today, we are working a nurse per 30 to 35 patients. Particularly, let me say it here in Abuja, because sometimes they will tell you that it's because many nurses have left the shore of this country for greener pasture. It's not true. We have done it here. We took some statistics here in Abuja. We found out that we have a lot of nurses that are still in this country that are not employed. Even in Abuja here, I have over 3,000 nurses. We just did that study to get nurses that are unemployed. We have over 3,000 nurses here in Abuja, but if you go to the hospitals, hospitals are empty. I can give you an example. We have more than 6.2 million Nigerians here in FCT. I will tell you that we have less than 1,000 nurses working in FCT hospitals. Less than 1,000 to take care of these people, which is not possible. Let me give you an example again in the area council. We have 6 area council. We have about 270 primary healthcare centers. In these 270 area councils, we have only 100 and less than 130 nurses. And let me be honest with you, the statistics all over is saying that we have less than, Nigeria is ranking second in the maternal and child aid. So if the primary healthcare centers that we have, nurses that we have cannot even go around, what do you think will happen? A lot of things will happen. Challenges. So another thing is infrastructural and instrument deficit. When I say infrastructural, look at the whole airport route down to the airport. Do we have hospital there? We don't have. And if I talk about
what should be done, as you're mentioning the challenges, tell us.
What should be done for the recruitment? Government should deliberately recruit nurses. And if I can tell you, most of these government, like in the primary healthcare center, since 2008, they have not recruited nurses. Like in FCDA, since El Rufai sacked over 2,000 health workers, nurses, they have not been. They were just replacing, not even replacing well. So government should recruit more nurses to take care of these people. And another thing is insecurity. Let me tell you, most of these nurses that are leaving this country, they are not leaving because they want to leave, but because there is insecurity, more especially those working in the community areas. So another thing is bad policies and failure to implement some of those policies that government will come up with policies and they will not implement.
Thank you very much, Jama. We'll have to take a short break now and, get the views of some workers who were out celebrating May Day today. Don't go away.
Ourselves to be here so that our expectation and hope that at least by the end of the day, as a Workers' Day, that's our benefit that have been awaiting, that we have been patient for long, will be put a smile in our faces as soon as it is.
The labor and the government to focus on health and safety of all workers in Nigeria. The world is facing new risks every day. And new hazard are emerging every day, just like we're having emerging technologies. So the same way, we are asking that the health and safety of workers should be more prioritized.
Welcome back. This is Still Nigeria Today. We are looking at the 2025 Workers' Day celebration. Of course, I have here in the studio with me two gentlemen. Now, Prof, of course, you heard what some of our workers are saying there. So, what areas, having said, what they said about health and safety and all of that, what areas would you love to see improvement?
Well, like I said, in the first place, I think there should be improvement in dialogue, social dialogue. Just like the president has promised, we're going to hold him to his word. Because we should be allowed to make inputs. We should be allowed to make suggestions. We are the workers. We know where the shoe is pinching. And then the issue of, look at the issue of FAC. There has been an increase of 66% in the past 2 years. Where is the money? They are still owing workers allowances.
I mean in the States?
In the States. Even in the Abuja here, you can see even the minimum wage, they have been on strike. And even at the federal level, let me even tell you, look, let me take example for research institutions. Do you know that they are the capital vote for 2024? Europe has not been released. Capital vote. Can you believe it? It's unbelievable. Do you know that in 2025...
I don't have that fact, sir.
Okay. Do you know that in 2025, nobody in research institute has gotten any overhead? And so what they have already released as overhead, that was a carryover for 2024. So if you go to research institutes now, there's no light. In fact, we have strike actions in some research institutes where there is no light at all, no water. And so the staff now, we shut down the institution, and the DG is being blamed for no water and no light. And then people are not understanding. Even the staff they can't understand. You mean that government is not giving money for light? You can even see. So what is happening? what is really happening? You have, increased all sorts of, tariffs.
So
more money is coming.
how do we make it better?
I think it's just for government to really sit down and listen to us. Because if they listen, nobody is, has the monopoly of wisdom. The president doesn't know everything. But if he opens his ears and, watches his ministers, and then listens, like the press, and the press, they are doing very well, I must say, bringing up these things, putting them on the front burner and all these discussions. The government should be able to monitor. It's not a question of, what we are seeing is that when somebody criticizes government, he comes under attack. Instead of them to listen, even call the person and say, oh, this information you have, let's investigate. Let it be
constructive.
Constructive, yes. Criticism.
Yes.
Now, so, and the truth about it is that organized labor will never be, criticized. Well, our intention is not to bring down the government. We are working, we are partners in the progress or, in the process of development. So what they should do is to listen to us. They complain, we have the complaints. When we say, somebody is saying, oh, they've not paid allowances. Now, you find out, there must be a response system whereby when people complain, somebody's looked into. We have this, paraphernalia of security agencies, monitoring systems, we have policies, but we are not, it seems as if somebody is not listening, government is not listening. And when we now start talking, sometimes they start hounding us, you see situations where they are treating organized labor as if they are common enemies, they sometimes accusing them of engineering or engineering insecurity. So I think that there should be a better government labor relationship, not just government citizen relationship, so that we can have a feedback system where when people talk, there are several things on ground. It's not just about money. It's about and the worry something about it is that you hear about corruption. Look at what is happening today. I was reading about student loan.
Before we go, before we go away from what we are talking about, let's hear from Jama. Jama, talk to us. What are the areas that, as a matter of urgency, you would want to see improvement?
As a matter of urgency, like I said earlier, actually most of the hospitals in Nigeria are empty. They should recruit more nurses and midwives into that. Then another thing is funding. Actually, most of these people, most of the issues happening is because there is lack of funds. One, there is Abuja declaration that states that 50% of the total budget should be set aside for health. And I think if government should do that, we will get a lot of money to settle most of these issues. And government should please stop on depending on international organizations to fund this. And look at just this policy that Trump came up with. We started running helter-skelter as if we don't have the resources in the country. So like I said, instrument deficit. I'm telling you the truth, go to Nigeria, basic things like CT scan, MRI, they are basic investigations outside this country, but I'm telling you, you go to government hospitals in Abuja here, you can't see them. So government should deliberately get all these together and tighten the security. I said it that people are leaving this country because of insecurity. If workers know that they are secure, and most of them can stay, if they kidnapping and this and that. So if government can do that, I think we'll be okay. And like this issue of strike that we just mentioned, the area council, primary health care in Abuja, all have been on that lock and key for the past 1 month. I can say, please, for today, when a woman died, one woman or child dies, but it's a serious issue, but people have been dying in those primary health centers. I want to call on the government to intervene on this matter because many people are dying in the area council and children.
Thank you very, very much. With that, we'll wrap up today's episode of Nigeria Today. Very big thank you to the chairman, Acting Chairman, Political Commission of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Professor Theophilus Ndobuako. Thank you so much for coming to the program, finding time to have this conversation with us. And also we say thank you to Jama Meda, who is the well, Jama Medan is a chairman, National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, FCT Council. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Ikaria Clinton. Goodbye.